And now we have David Weber. David Weber joined the University of Missouri Political Science Department in 1986 with an academic specialty in American public policy. He worked for the U.S. Congress in 1993 and 95, and in 2009, David began volunteering at Columbia's Homeless Services and has written 3 plays about homelessness and one about politics performed in Columbia. He started writing opinion columns in the Columbia Missourian in 1994 and often writes about homelessness and related social issues. He has taught at 2 South Korea universities, and he currently teaches in the University of Missouri's Asian Affairs Center. Let's welcome David to our TEDx stage.
Well, thank you. I'm pleased to be here. I will be interpreted tonight by A.J. Housewright. So social inclusiveness is something that most of us here tonight would probably agree on. I've been concerned about it academically for 30 to 40 years, but it was mostly a academic topic. I use the word nurturing often. That's what basic education is. We need to talk more about nurturing, how people learn to do things. So I seek to include all kinds of groups, race, age, education, income. And in our culture, it seems to me that several generations ago, we talked about nurturing. Many people know the play To Kill a Mockingbird. And you probably know the Atticus quote that you never really know someone until you get in their skin and walk around in it. A lot of church songs, hymns, right, speak of individual involvement. One that I remember is, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me, so that something is required of me. I started teaching in 1982, and I know a lot about government reports. So many people know about the point-in-time account. On any given night in America, about 600,000 people are homeless. About 60% are considered to be in shelters, 40% in cars, in tents, in the woods, out in the open someplace. And if you read the news, you know that there's a growing portion of homelessness in major cities, especially on the West Coast. Here in Columbia, we have about 300 people who are homeless. About 75% are sheltered, probably 60 to 70 are unsheltered. And there's several people here tonight who work for some of these agencies that help these people. Go on to the next slide. So you may have noticed that I have a disability. I stutter, just like President Joe Biden and King George VI. There was a movie in 2010, so I realize that many of you probably haven't seen it, but go home and watch the King's speech tonight, okay? And I guarantee you that you won't enjoy watching King George, who was king of Great Britain during World War II, stammer and stutter all over the place. He had to speak to the British people about World War II, and it was quite a traumatic challenge for him, I'm sure. But stuttering has done lots of things for me, okay? It's made me much more attentive to other people. So one of the letters I have difficulty with is D. My name is David. Thanks, Dad. But But I'm from a family of 8 children. This is my older brother. He used to position himself next to me when we have introductory lineups in Boy Scouts and at the YMCA and stuff. And if I couldn't say my name, he would help me. Okay? And that, I knew about that, but I really didn't totally appreciate that, probably till I was 60. Okay? My mother was really skilled at getting her children involved in things that they were interested in. My mother gave me $1 a week to order the typescript, the transcript from Meet the Press that was on television every Sunday. And of course, when it came, she would have me read it out loud back to her. Okay? And I carried it around school in about, maybe 6th grade. And I thought I was pretty cool, I have written, so I started volunteering at Room at the Inn here in Columbia in 2009. Just because I was close to campus. We had a cold, wintry night, and it was just something to do. I found out that I enjoyed it. I think I was good at it. I engaged in conversation with a lot of homeless people. I went back the next year, and it was managed by a guy by the name of Shannon Stewart, who was previously homeless, a convict, a drug user, a gang member, all that stuff. But he really demonstrated tough love. I was impressed with how he knew so much about each individual at the shelter, and that he expected them to be responsible and to follow the rules. So I have found that I came to admire him. But because of all these conversations, I learned a lot about homeless people at a very personal level. And that allowed me to write a play, which was first performed in Columbia in 2015. And a play has to have a lot of individual details. So I would talk to homeless people where I had gaps. And it was quite helpful. So I went on to write 2 other plays which have been performed. About a year ago, I convinced the managing editor of the Columbia Missourian to start the Como Street Gazette, which is intended to give a voice to homeless people. This week, we'll have our 4th issue coming out on the street. So one thing I've learned is that helping the homeless and helping anyone is a deeply personal relationship. People need to be involved with people who they get to know. So these are the signs, some panhandle signs of people that I happen to know. I could talk about all of them, but I won't. I'll just point out one. I got the sign on Thursday, and you will see that it says, hard times, anything helps, okay? So I've known her since 2009. I saw her on the street. I stopped in my car and walked back, and she recognized me. I've talked to her several times. I bought this sign from her for $5. And then she told me, we acquainted ourselves. She was in the shelter that used to be a greenhouse over by Stevens Lake. And she hugged me several times, and then she whispered to me that she's still an alcoholic. I told her that was okay. But she told me because of the work of some people in this room probably, she is housed. And she started crying and saying, I am not homeless anymore. And she pointed out, look, it says hard times. It doesn't say homeless. So I was very touched. She was touched. We cried on the street for a while, So I encourage people to get to know homeless people at that level. About probably 5 years ago, before the pandemic, I volunteered at a wonderful activity, Saturday Morning Cafe, where different church groups provide food to homeless people on a Saturday morning. And it's usually organized so servers, serve pancakes, eggs, scrambled eggs, whatever, behind the serving table. Then the homeless people take their plates and go sit out 20 feet away and sit with either a group or with their friends. So since I didn't belong to the church group, I ate with the homeless people, right? And it was there that I realized that my motto is share food, don't just serve it. And I do, providing food is very important, I understand that. But we need to make every effort we can to share food, okay? Just don't serve it. So I have some suggestions how people can help homeless people, how to make them a more inclusive part of the Columbia community. So the first is to think about organizations that are inclusive, that you belong to. How do they work? And then ask yourself, how could we include homeless people? Number two, always being mindful of your personal safety. And I understand people should be concerned about that. Talking to any stranger on the street, okay? You should be concerned about that. But there are ways that you can talk to them in your church, at the public library, right? There's the city building, Loaves and Fishes. There are other opportunities that are more secure. And then I always mentioned that keep your attention on people, not just homeless organizations. Ask nonprofits how they are affected the inclusiveness of people. Number six, support improved transportation, longer open hours, places for homeless people to be, which is a major challenge. Alternative sleeping facilities rather than one centralized facility. Reducing homelessness, it requires more housing, medical services, job preparation, food, right? But these should be provided in a way that we include them to the fullest extent in our community. This is John LeBlanc, some of you know. I was talking with him about a month ago, and we got talking about the art that homeless people do. And he ticked off like 12 people among homeless who are artists. So I've learned several things tonight. I want to talk to Asia about this. How we could get them more involved, make them more visible, make them more inclusive in Columbia. Somewhere along the line, when he told me these 12 people, I was impressed with his memory, and I told him so, okay? And he was pleased, and he said, we should have recollection meetings. That was his term. We should have recollection meetings so homeless people can talk about their past so that they remember it better and they can use it as a source of strength. Okay? And I figured this could be an art club, or an art class, a rug making club, chess club, whatever. Okay? I believe, and I've written some columns about this, that most people want to be of greater service to each other if they only knew how. If you think about it, you will find a way. Well, thank you for listening.